Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Spirit and Soul Podcast. I am your host, Tiffany Cohen, and today we have a special guest with us. We have Brittney Krauss, who works with us here at Spirit and Soul, and she wears many, many, many different hats here. Number one, what brought her in was really her eye for retail design. She was helping out with that, and she still does, and then has moved on to become a breathwork facilitator, a sacred space creator, which is really cool, and we're going to get into that, and Reiki healer, and so many other things. So welcome to the podcast, Britt.
Thank you.
So excited to have you for your first podcast recording here on the Spirit and Soul podcast. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you really got started in all the things?
Okay, so as far as my spiritual journey, I feel like I was always like a very spiritual kid and just didn't really know it. I had like a crystal collection when I was really young, but I was told that, like doing all the things I was really into weren't okay because I grew up in a very religious household. So I kind of got away from that stuff. Honestly, like I always just thought everyone was like me and just like knew things or felt things. And I didn't realize that that wasn't so common. But yeah, so I got away from all of those things until I got really sick in my early 20s. I had rheumatoid arthritis and I was going to all doctors, having all the medications, doing all the things, and it definitely helped. But nothing really changed my life until I experienced Reiki healing. Absolutely made a huge difference. I was able to get like mobility in my hands again. And at that point, when I realized what a difference it made for me, I was like, I need to get certified in this. I need to learn this and I need to help people with it.
Amazing. Amazing. So what really led you, and then we're going to unpack it all. What led you into like sacred space creating and into like the creative part of all the things you do at Spirit and Soul?
So I was always like a very creative kid. And when I was younger, I took fashion classes in high school, and that led me into going to FIT when I was in high school for like college classes. So when kids were like playing out in the sun and during summer, I was going to the city and I was taking college classes to do this. So I began really young and realized I enjoyed it. Like I liked fashion, but I really enjoyed the environment around the things that created the space for the selling and for the experience that you had when you walked into these stores. So I went to college for that. And then I got like all of the really great internships with the amazing brands, the amazing jobs. And I realized that like I made my dream come true and it was not everything that I was sold for it to be. Yeah. So if you want to get tested, go into the fashion industry.
All right. So what was it about it that like didn't really call to you?
Honestly, like the culture of the people really make it difficult. Like,
What do you mean by that?
the culture of the people are always, it's very competitive. It's an extremely competitive world where everyone is trying to be better than the next. And listen, that's great. That competition like really drives greatness. Truly, I believe that. But there's like a humanity aspect that is lost.
Okay.
And I feel like it just really wears you down when you're an empathetic person that like really feels the room. And you can be in it, you can be there, you can do your thing. But at the end of the day, when everybody is just like in that really masculine energy, just like going for each other's throats all the time, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So it was hard, like doing what I love, and I truly still love it to this day, but in an environment that is so draining.
Wow. All right. So, I mean, I feel like that's honestly a story that and like a lot of people can wrap their minds around, because I think when we have a dream, and we're kind of sold something too, like you're kind of sold like this, oh, it's going to be amazing. And these are the things you're supposed to do when you come out of college. You're supposed to get an amazing job.
When you
doing
grow
what
up with
want.
movies like 13 going on 30 and like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, I was like, that's going to be me. And then it was me. And I was like, wow, this is a lot.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, there's something about this that isn't sitting well with me. And also your body was,
Oh yeah, my body was rejecting that life.
wow,
Fully.
amazing. And let me guess, when you went to the doctors, what happened?
They were like, oh, we don't know where this is coming from. It must be like some sort of genetic thing. Do you have this in your family? No, I do not. We don't know what this is. All right, you just have to be on medication for the rest of your life.
And what'd you do?
I was like, all right, I'm going to play ball. I'm going to do the medication. Listen, it helped. I went through all of the food things. I completely cleaned up my diet and it all really helped, but nothing really got me there, like adjusting my energy. And honestly, I was at a point where I'd be like, yeah, I'm sure that would be great. I'm sure you have to change your lifestyle. But when I experienced it and saw the before and after of all of like the tangible changes you're supposed to make and how they don't hold a candle, at least it didn't for me, to when I made the energetic changes, like there's no arguing with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people come to me too when they're like, oh, I went to the doctor and, well, all the things. And I'm like, let me guess. Because like fertility is like a big one that I see with this. Or like certain pains that just like come out of nowhere for people. Well, out of nowhere,
Yeah,
right?
nowhere.
And they're like, yeah, and the doctor can't. I'm like, let me guess, the doctor can't figure out why you can't get pregnant, why you're having this back pain. And it's like, yeah, because it's energetic, right? Like there's nothing that's going to show up on an x-ray. Like the energy block that you have is not showing up on the MRI either. You know what I mean? Like it's just not. And, if you're lucky, you get a great doctor that has, and like, is a spiritual doctor or like an energetic doctor that gets it, and then kind of calls in all the things. But most of the time you're not working with that. And I always say, and just always say that there is a place for both. Like Brittney said too, like the medicine helped, but they didn't get her where she wanted to be. But when you kind of start combining it with the energetics,
I always say I'm a gray area person. I'm never so hard and fast on one extreme or the other. I do the medical, but I also do the spiritual. And that's just been the place for me that I've found the most success.
Yeah.
I think we need a little bit of everything.
I agree. I'm wholeheartedly agree with you there. All right. So let's move into, because I just love this so much, the sacred space creating. So talk to me about, first, what do you do in your own home? But then why is this so important?
Well, I think it's so important because our homes, our surroundings around us are an extension of who we are and our energy. If you are feeling cluttered, if you have things everywhere, you have that energy bouncing off of everything around you and it just creates kind of a chaos. So what I do in my space is I always like to make sure, like, listen, I have a 2-year-old, things get everywhere, but I always make sure that I'm being as minimal as possible with the things I bring into my life. When I'm out or if I'm online shopping or something, I always sit for a moment and say, is this something I have a place for in my home? Is this something I have a place for in my life? Is this something that's going to add value? So I'm very particular with what I'm bringing in. I also I made a joke with the girls downstairs. Like I brought scissors for something one day and they're like, of course these are yours. These are like white and gold scissors. I'm like, why buy? If you have the option, why are you going to buy the boring scissors when the nicer ones that like bring you joy are likely the same price or maybe like $1 or $2 more, right? Like the energy that adds to you. And then every time you cut something with the pretty scissors, you feel good.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I do. I just always try to say like, okay, if I need something, I want it to add to my energy, my space, and my time.
I love that. Yeah, I'm like laughing at you though now because I know she's got a thing of crystals downstairs. She's like, I'll find a place for all of these things.
All of them.
I need them all.
Well, I mean, that's
I get it. I know. No, it is definitely different because it is
it's energy.
It's energy. So you're harnessing energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
She's like, I see you got an addiction.
Yeah, I believe, I wholeheartedly agree with you. And I believe that space really makes a difference. I've actually been teaching this for a long time. And when I started out on my entrepreneurial journey, I had like this program, and in the program I was like creating intentional space. Like it was a big part of the teaching, because you have to create your environment. And if your environment feels like chaotic, or it feels like, everything's out of place, or you just like have random things everywhere, you're not going to feel grounded in your work. You're not going to feel right. So that I did this like whole like course on creating intentional space, because it's so important to kind of set the tone for the energy that you want in that
and
space.
A lot of people don't put as much importance on it because they think like, oh, things are just pretty, and and they like dismiss it almost. But then once they experience it, they realize like, oh, I feel great.
Yeah. Or like when you go into a space like Spirit and Soul, 'cause people tell us this all the time, and they're like,
Yep.
oh, it's so amazing in here. It's so pretty. It's so, and then they feel like it's their second home, and they feel like they don't want to leave, and they feel like they feel at home. They feel like they're just like getting like so much energy from it. It's the surroundings
and
that you're
ancient
in
civilizations actually knew this, and that's why they built such exotic temples, gorgeous entryways, because your consciousness when it enters a space is adjusting. It's absolutely changing. So that's why when you want to feel a certain way, it's very important to set the intention of that, because your brain is automatically switching when you enter or leave a threshold.
Oh, that's so cool.
I learned that and I was like, of course. We experience it every day.
Yeah.
You go, let's say you have a row of stores that you're walking downtown, you go into one, you feel, I got to get out of here. You go next door, you feel so aligned to it, right? And it's all because of the energy. There are spaces right next to each other, but it's just entering a threshold and your brain is processing in a totally different way.
Wow. Yeah, and probably your energy is definitely processing it as you're walking in, and like kind of either setting off, like your nervous system's almost processing it.
It's a whole body
too.
experience.
Yeah.
Because it starts in the brain, it processes, it goes through the nervous system.
Are we
and
safe?
comes back.
Am I safe here?
Are we safe? Is this something that I can be myself in? Maybe not. It goes many layers.
I never thought of it like that with safety as well, like the nervous system responding to it. And the nervous system's always responding to your environment around you. But I never really thought about it as far as even like just shopping. Like you walk in and you're like, oh, wait a second. It's like, were people just like talking shit in the back?
And we've all been there that we feel that way.
Yeah. Or like, is this like a space that that feels great, that feels aligned? Do they judge everybody
Also,
that comes in? Or
there's a worthiness piece, and this is actually a like a marketing play that a lot of brands do. So when you walk into, let's say, like Prada, there is scarce amount of items because they're creating importance for the items that are there. Right? You go into Costco, they want to create value. They want to reduce your perception of the cost of those things. So things are stocked up everywhere. Now, you could walk into Costco and say, like, I don't have a lot of money. This resonates with my body. Or you can have a very expanded view of yourself, walk into Prada and be like, I am completely resonating with this space, right? So with that knowledge, I do like to challenge myself and go into different places and be like, how do I feel? How are these things around me making me feel? Okay, I don't feel worthy enough for this. I want to upgrade myself and my vision of myself. So I'm going to keep patronizing those places and seeing how it feels in my body.
So how can you, this is super interesting. So how could you take that and like apply it to your home, that feeling?
So if you're in your home and you're feeling stuck, like you are, okay, so let's keep using money because money, we all understand it. We all feel that way. And you are not feeling worthy of where you want to be in your life. Look around your home. Are you cluttered? Do you have things everywhere? Do you not place value on the things that you have? Are you saying, oh, I'll just buy the cheaper version of this, even though the more expensive version makes you feel better, right? And even if that more expensive version or that better version that you prefer is only a few dollars more, it's really taking stock of how you are treating your space around you first. Looking at that space, seeing, do I have things I'm holding on to? Do I have things I don't need anymore? And it's really assessing the way that your brain is processing your space, because your space is an extension of yourself.
And probably if you're cluttered, like if your home is cluttered, your mind is cluttered, your energy is cluttered. So it's like asking you kind of to like start to
It's a
clear
mirror.
out. No, so let me just tell you something. So there was a spot in my house that was it was like my office area, and I wasn't using it anymore. And that's like the key, right? I wasn't using it in this way anymore. I kind of like shifted locations for my office, and everything was still there, right? So what was happening? Everybody was leaving all their stuff on it. Yep. Come in from the garage because it was like right off the garage, and everybody's leaving their helmets and their gloves and all the different
it's a
things.
surface. So
yeah. And everything would start piling up there. But also, this was attached to my den. So the end where all my crystals are and like all my sacred space things. And
the energy probably felt like congested,
I
right?
actually didn't want to be in there anymore because of it all. And I like didn't put two and two together. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I like looked around and I was like, this is stale energy. This is old
Stale
energy.
is exactly it.
Yeah. And I got all new like things to like, I cleared out everything. I got like this beautiful bookshelf and I created it in a higher like self version of what this would look like. I got a new thing for my crystals, and we all love being in there now.
And now you're attracted to the space.
Love it. I am obsessed with this space now. And it's because I cleaned up the energy. I actually separated some of the crystals. They were all in one spot. And I started to separate them out.
And like give them their due.
Yeah. I mean, besides like the little vortexes and like altars that I have around my house, but like the majority of them were in one spot. And I was like, okay, no, let me like let them shine. And let me let my oracle deck shine.
Don't they feel more important?
Oh my God, so much
Don't
more
they
important.
feel like a higher value product?
Absolutely.
Yep. Another thing that like you kind of touched on here is the feeling. So think about that space in your home that it might be so small that you're like, oh, it's fine. But that little part of your brain is like, oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I use this example all the time because everybody can relate to this one. Is like your utensil drawer. Everybody just throws their utensils in there. Like you're having a moment every single day where you're pulling out a utensil and you're like, oh, I hate, it's that in your field, right?
Yep.
I made a reel about blessing your utensils and making them a item that is going to cleanse your food, putting a little rune in there and everything. And it honestly like changed the way I eat.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like a tiny little thing. And you wouldn't even think it's so lame because it's like it's a utensil drawer.
Yeah.
But you make tiny things like that intentional. So you just moved this thing from being just a chore that you have to do and throw something into to an intentional moment.
So good. Oh my gosh. I love this. It's so interesting because, and this is like what I always talk about, right? It's that we have to weave in this intentional, soulful part of ourselves into our modern everyday life, and doing things like this, right? Like one drawer in your home, you can add some intention to it. And now it has become a part of a thing that's blessing your food, that doesn't give you that feeling anymore of like
it's an
tightness.
Energy giver rather than energy taker.
Yeah. So I just did this too with my shoes. So like another part, I went like crazy this January, like redoing parts that were giving me like a hard time, like in my body.
Like a little agita.
Yes. I was going to say agita actually. So I got like this beautiful, it was with the freaking shoes in the front, because we always take our shoes off and we don't put them in anything.
But see, even your language, you're like the
freaking shoes.
But don't you want to love your shoes?
Yeah, I do. So now I have this beautiful shoe cabinet and you put them all in there and it looks so amazing. Good. And the piece looks so elevated and pretty. And I'm like, all right, it took something that was really bothering me. And plus they say, so if this is you too, right? They say that shoes at the front door, it actually, if you have things at your front door, it like clutters up abundance.
That's a feng shui.
Yeah. It covers it, meaning like abundance can't come through the door. And I'm like, honey,
like that,
like
there's energy is bouncing.
Yeah, there's no amount of cinnamon that you can blow into.
There's no amount of sage. There's no amount of cinnamon
that's going to get over those shoes. Okay. And that's what I was telling myself.
But it's so crazy because it was such a small fix. And it's like, it's just a shoe cabinet, right?
Yeah.
So many people be like, oh, it's just a shoe cabinet. But like, isn't that shoe cabinet everything to you right now?
It's actually everything.
You look at it and the satisfaction. So you took a point that was an agitation and now you feel really good over that silly little thing.
I love it. I know.
It brings energy to your day.
It does.
It's worth taking the time.
And and what it does too is it makes me want to keep the whole area clean. Cause when I sit in this one spot, like in my house and I look at it, I get the whole view. And when it's like all clean and like nice.
Yes.
I feel so good inside.
And I'm
peaceful.
glad you used that word view because that's how I look at certain moments in my life too. I'm like, okay, this is my view for X. Like, this is my workspace. This is my workspace view. So what do I want in that view? I'm going to add like, okay, I'm working, so I want to bring in money. I'm going to put a pyrite here, right? Or if I'm like in my living room and that's a space where I'm going to have company, I'm going to have flow, I'm going to place certain crystals there within my view that remind me of certain feelings I want to have or like cleansing moments for high traffic areas.
Yeah, like I have 2 giant selenites and they're
like
black onyx. Yeah. No, mine are not. It's like keep your
I
shit
have the ones that are
at
pretty,
the door.
but I also have them hidden in a lot of places.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh. So talk to us a little bit about the service that you provide as far as like creating sacred spaces in people's homes. I think that this is hard for a lot of people too. It's like once you have like your crystals and you have your decks and you have all these things and they don't, it's like, well, what do I do with them besides just like meditate with it or whatever? How do you step in and kind of help somebody to create a space that feels really good for them?
So the first question I always ask is, what is the use of this space that does not make you feel good? And how do you want to feel? And we go from there. So for example, I had a client that she was in her bathroom and she's like, this is only my bathroom. I want to feel confident. I'm really on a self-love journey. I was like, say no more. So we got correlating crystals for that. We brought them into a space in her bathroom with like her soaps, with her perfumes, all the things that make her feel pretty and beautiful and uplifted. And we created a moment for her where she was able to remember to take that second as she was getting ready to give herself love. We made a spot for an affirmation card that she's going to pull every day. We kept the cards close with her soaps in her drawer, like it's creating moments within your spaces. Another client I had, she really likes her holidays. Like she's like, I know I'm corny with these things, but I love them. I'm like, you do you. You gotta know what works for you.
Yeah.
So she wanted to do like a St. Patrick's Day moment, right? So she has like a space in her kitchen next to her sink. And she's like, I want this to be my rotating location because I'm always cleaning and that's where I'm going to see it. So we had like a little bowl for her and that bowl always stays, but we're switching out every season with the correlating crystals, with the correlating intentions.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So it's just creating little moments that are going to work for you. It's like knowing who you are, knowing what it is you want to get out of the space and knowing is you're going to be doing, and then just bringing in the things that are going to make it feel like an extra elevated level.
That's so fun. I feel like when you leave, people probably feel, I know they have to feel like so good. Like
honestly, it's why I love it so much. Like I always go because I'm obsessed with organizing and designing. Like that's why I'm doing all this. But like the feeling of leaving and everybody just having that, I'm like, that's enough. I'm like, that's the reason enough because I'm like, to me, it's so natural. And to them, it's such a pain point. And the fact that I'm able to like bridge that gap for them, it just feels so good. It's so nice.
This is so fun. So for anybody at home that's like looking around and you just kind of have like your things like not intentionally placed, right? Like maybe you think that it feels intentional, but like then you kind of look at it and it's like bothering you a little bit. That sometimes would happen with my crystals because they were like all in this one spot. And I'm like, okay, but like I haven't intentionally placed them in a long time. Like I set it up once.
Yep.
It doesn't have any depth to it. Everything's flat, like not flat, but like, I don't know, like tall, obviously short. I have all that, but like I wanted more, I wanted like height. Yeah. And,
like
and
intentionally placed.
Yeah. So like that was happening with me. So if you're at home right now and you're like, all right, I want to create these moments in my house, this space in my house. This is where Brittney really comes in. This is where she shines. And she's doing this with Carrie also as her assistant to create these
And she's so good.
Yes.
So good. She's like my dream assistant.
Oh my gosh. So, this is it's an amazing way to really bring intention into your entire life because you're in your home so much.
Yep.
And especially if you work like a stressful job or things like that where you need to find peace in your home, you want to create.
Your home is your sanctuary. Like that's where you begin. And if you're in your home feeling chaotic and then you go out into a chaotic world, it's not good for you.
No.
You need a place to like simmer down.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. So, Britt, how can everybody follow you on Instagram?
So I am at a.bougie.hippie on Instagram. You can find me there. I also have my business's Instagram at lumencreativedesignstudio. You can see some of my work there. And I have a website coming very soon. So
amazing.
Look out for that. And also all my other things, you can find me at spiritandsoulstudio.com/Brittney.
Yeah. And we're actually going to be adding to our roster for Brittney, the sacred space creation, because we really think that it's so important for you guys to have at home. So be on the lookout for that as well. If this is something you feel like you need, which hint, hint, you do. I'm sure you might.
Everyone needs it.
Yeah, I really do believe that.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. Oh, Brittney, thank you so much for this fun conversation. This was so great. And guys, let us know, like, what was your takeaway from this conversation with Brittney today? I would love to hear. You can reach out to Brittney herself, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at Spirit and Soul Studio. I would love to hear from you. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast. Thanks, Britt.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.